what we wanted to do at this time is let the commission itself have a discussion about where we are either personally or how we feel on this issue.
I do personally have concerns about the ADL's unwillingness to support the genocide resolution that's in Congress, and I do feel it's inconsistent with their mission to protect all people from discrimination, from injustice. When they say that it's not useful to support this resolution, it doesn't make sense to me, because supporting a genocide resolution, recognizing genocide whenever it happens, is the only way that we can prevent future genocides from happening. It is the most important way, the most important thing we can do. It's not, from my point of view, it's not necessarily about Armenians. It's about all people. It's about human rights for all people, past, present, and future.
I think that there has been confusion between moral and political issues and positions, and I would like to see a decision that recognizes what the priority is for me, and I hope will be for at least the members of the commission, which is that the moral requirements take precedence over the political requirements. I know, as a human being and as a Jew, I am very concerned, as are many other people, about the state of Israel and its place in the world and its allies and all of that. But I think the question of the Armenian genocide and recognizing it fully is a moral question. And I think that, I hope that the ADL and the No Place for Hate program will recognize that it is necessary to take a moral position and then work as best as you can on the very difficult political issues.
But we have a moral obligation, I think, to witness and to record injustice. And not to recognize the Armenian genocide, to me, is injustice. And we have to just record it and to state what it is. And politics shouldn't enter into it. This is a human rights issue. Politics should stay out of it.
If I'm going to try to help end a genocide that's happening today, I'm not going to be able to do that if you can't recognize one that happened almost a century ago.
Our charge as commissioners and advisory board members is to look out for the protection of those who have been persecuted, who have been alienated against, who have been subject to humiliation and prejudice. Those are the things we do. We did them before I ever came here. We've done them before the ADL brought their wonderful program, No Place for Hate, here, and we will continue to do those things regardless of any other circumstance, because that's what we are entrusted to do by the City of Newton. The comments that came from the National were unacceptable to us. Do we as commissioners and advisory board members feel comfortable staying under that umbrella when it has been tarnished with this issue? You must stand up for everyone. If you stand up for injustice, you cannot pick the people you stand up for.
At this time, we're going to start with our speakers, the public who is asked to comment. We're going to ask you to limit it to 2 minutes. I've got 19 people that have signed up asking to talk.
My name is Jerry Tishler. My wife, Beth, and I, Beth will speak after me, have been Newton residents for 35 years. We've also been ADL volunteers for that period of time and leaders in the ADL community. We co-founded No Place for Hate with Lenny Zagan, and we're currently the co-chairs. I have studied and taught and written about the Armenian genocide. By any objective criterion, it was a genocide. It wasn't tantamount to a genocide, it was a genocide. And it was a genocide not just during the cover of World War I, It began in 1895 and continued at least till 1925. We are committed at ADL to protect the rights of all people. That includes Armenian Americans, obviously. We will never, ever waver from that commitment. Whether the National Commission, from a political perspective, supports this particular legislation, I don't know. But if you drop No Place for Hate, or even if you make it conditional upon the outcome of this vote in November, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
I'm here tonight to really reassure you, as Jerry has stated, that we have heard you. National ADL has heard you. Believe me, they have heard you. We, and I think I speak for all of our regional board members, but especially for national commissioners such as myself, are going to be working tirelessly to educate and advocate with our fellow commissioners across the country. That's what we are going to be doing in the coming weeks. That's what we have been doing. We hope that the No Place for Hate Committee here in Newton will continue to work with us as part of No Place for Hate.
My name is David Boyajian, and I live on Mount Ida Street in Newton. From the start, we, and then Newton in late August, asked the ADL to do two simple things: fully and unequivocally recognize the Armenian genocide and actively support congressional resolutions on the genocide instead of actively opposing them. That is, undo the damage ADL has done to the issue of human rights, genocide acknowledgement, awareness, and prevention. Only then would the ADL qualify to sponsor No Place for Hate again. The ADL has complied with neither request. Incredibly, the ADL's alleged acknowledgement on August 21st was actually a thinly disguised denial. The ADL's statement was designed so that the murders of 1915 to 23 would not fit the UN definition of genocide. Word games are not acceptable. The National ADL will not make a turnabout without pressure from you and the No Place for Hate programs, governments, and grassroots citizens of other cities and towns. Since July, we've heard from many Jewish Americans, grassroots academicians, Holocaust experts, rabbis, webloggers, and Israelis who support our position. I hope you will listen to those persons rather than those very, very few and sadly misguided leaders of the National ADL. If the sponsor of No Place for Hate had denied or diminished another genocide, cities and towns would have severed ties immediately without being asked. That Armenians have to go from town to town talking to human rights groups means that we, Armenians, and our genocide have been treated as second-class citizens. Needless to say, No Place for Hate and human rights commissions are not supposed to create a hierarchy of genocide and a hierarchy of ethnic groups. I hope the Newton Human Rights Commission, in conclusion, will remain faithful to its mission and agree that the Newton No Place for Hate must sever, not suspend, not think about, not sleep on, because we Armenians have had it up to here with euphemisms, sever their ties to the ADL. Thank you.
My name is Sonia Marian, and I live at 120 Dickman Road in Highland. I do come to speak on behalf of the Armenian National Committee of Eastern Massachusetts. The ADL has failed to acknowledge the Armenian genocide without ambiguity and continues as a key player in Turkey's genocide denial campaign. Currying favor with the government of Turkey, the ADL is still opposing efforts by the United States to affirm the historical record. Specifically, the ADL's opposition to Armenian genocide legislation, House Resolution 106, Senate Resolution 106, is an affront to Armenian Americans and all people of good conscience who are committed to the cause of human rights, tolerance, and the respect for diversity. Under pressure from the New England Armenian and Jewish communities and the ADL's own regional board, Mr. Foxman and the National ADL conceded that the quote-unquote consequences of events in Turkey from 1950 to 1923 were tantamount to genocide. Sadly, Mr. Foxman sidestepped the legal definition of genocide by avoiding any language that would imply intent, a critical part of the 1948 UN Genocide Treaty, in an apparent attempt to appease Turkey's denialist establishment. Mr. Foxman then proceeded to apologize to the Prime Minister of Turkey for having put his government, quote unquote, in a difficult position, expressing his quote unquote sorrow over what we have caused for the leadership and people of Turkey. No apology to the heirs of Armenian genocide survivors has been issued to date. Mr. Foxman has since gone on to stress repeatedly that he shares the Turkish government's opposition to having the U.S. Congress even discuss the Armenian genocide, much less vote on a resolution that has the support of over 225 members of the House and 31 members of the Senate. We urge the Newton Human Rights Committee to sever its ties with the Anti-Defamation League until such time that the organization acknowledges publicly and without ambiguity the Armenian genocide and supports congressional affirmation of this crime against humanity. We believe that anything less would jeopardize efforts to protect and uphold the civil rights and dignity of all citizens of Newton. Thank you.